Hi, I'm Dr. Cheryl Fraser, and I'm here to ask you a very important question. Do you always think you're right? I must admit that this is one of my less developed skills myself, is the skill of how to handle conflict with your partner well. We're in the second of 5 videos here of the top 5 problems couples have, and I'm offering you a brief explanation of the major problems that bring couples to couples therapy, bring them to workshops, bring them to my course, things like that. These are the ones that hurt. These are the things that can actually drive the kind of wedge between you that ends up in you splitting up. So number 2, how do you handle conflict? Do you always think you're right? I'm going to show you, actually for the first time on video, a technique I use in my upstairs office where I see couples in distress who are on the verge of breaking up, where I try to help them solve these top 5 and other problems. It's called the other side of the clock technique, and here we go. Imagine you're sitting in my office and you're there with your sweetheart, and I hold this object up to you and I say, I want you for the moment to pretend you're a Martian. What I mean is you don't know what a clock is. And I want you to look at this object in my hand, and I want you to describe it using any words you want to use except the word clock. And then I say, go ahead. And you would say, it's a small object, it's about the size of a hand, it seems to be gold, it's sort of 8-sided or something, and it's got Roman numerals on it. And I'd say, excellent, you get an A+, you're very clever, and you'll kind of preen, figuring your partner's not going to do as well as you. Then I will turn to your partner and I will say, okay, I want you to do the same thing. I want you to describe this object to me using any words you want. And your partner will say something like, it's a small black object, it seems to have some sticky outy handle thing on it, and a couple of circular dials. And I'll say, great, you're brilliant, A+, you're clever too. And then the $1 million comment, patented Dr. Cheryl other side of the clock technique, I will say, which one of you is right? Now, being good people, you'll probably chuckle a bit and say, well, both of us are right, or neither of us is right. This is the key to approaching conflict. You're never right. All you are is seeing your perspective on the problem. As I say, your side of the clock. So the problem we're tackling today is how to approach conflict more effectively. And the tool or the solution is, remember, you are only seeing it from your perspective. What you see feels like reality, but sister, brother, if you're telling me that it's gold and it's got Roman numerals and it's this, and I can only see this, I think you're crazy. And when you're fighting and saying, but I'm right, it's gold, you're wrong, Cheryl, it's not black, we will never get anywhere. I dive much more deeply into these techniques in my upcoming course. We'll be debuting this fall, an online course for couples. But for now, I challenge you this week, every single time you find yourself trying to convince your partner that the way you see it is correct, remember, their side of the clock could be very different, and that doesn't make them wrong. Would you rather be right or happy? Would you be willing to say, hey babe, what do you see from your side of the clock? That is the best initial approach to dealing with the second major couples issue, which is we don't know how to handle conflict. We just get in gridlock and we argue, and I'm trying to tell them it's gold and they're trying to tell me it's black, and we get nowhere but miserable, disconnected, and not getting laid tonight. So that's the second problem in our 5 problem and solution couples series. Next week, I'm going to talk about commitment. Are you fully in or are you on the fence? We'll talk about that in the next video. Thanks for joining me.